What's going on, people of Azeroth? Gordan here, aka the Chef, and today we are finally bringing you a key bindings and basic macro video here. So we have lots to talk about, but before we even get into anything, I just kind of want to give a background as to how I enjoy key binding. It's, key bindings are those things where it's just personal preference for everything, like most things in life, music, food, whatever. Like, do it how you want to do it. Just make sure it makes sense and has some type of flow to it, where you don't want to be all over the place in the keyboards. You want to have some rotations. It makes sense to actually be able to input the commands. So background for me, I've been playing WoW since the original vanilla, so whatever, over a decade of WoW. But I mainly went into competitive League. I've been playing League since Season 1. I was Diamond 1 plus since Season 3, which was basically almost top 200 every single season. I've hit Challenger before all that. So I'm used to playing WASD, but I've keybound myself around QWER because League is a QWER game. So I use a lot of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, stuff like that. But then since I have a little bit of WoW, experience in my my repertoire here, we're gonna also keybind around WASD. So pretty much I use the entire left side of the keyboard. But again, personal preference, things like alt keybinds, I don't like the alt key at all. And until like a week ago, I never used the control key. It is really nice. I was just always a big shift fan, but you have so many keybinds that I started to utilize some control keys here. So we'll just go ahead and start the breakdown of what we have here. Obviously, we'll go back into human form here. You have your 1 through 6, so I use 1 through 6 on the numpad or the keypad, whatever. And then after 6, I don't go for 7, 8, 9, whatever. That's all just, it's too far for the reach, so I don't bother with that. And then I use keys around the WASD for the most part. So we have stuff like F, we have R, which is still our reply button. We don't change that at all. We have Shift R. You're gonna have a lot of mouse key buttons as well. You're gonna have Control E. You're gonna have E. You're gonna have C. You're gonna have Shift C. You're gonna have Shift E. So a lot of things going on here. You have Q. So we'll just kind of explain how I like to ingrain keybinds into my brain. No matter what, I always put an interrupt on Q, just because interrupts are crucial, especially if you're doing world PvP. You gotta have them at ready. So right next to WASD, you could just simply tap Q. And right now, obviously in human form, we don't have an interrupt as a druid. But if I go to bear form, it's gonna be bash for me. So right away, spammable keys are right off of our WASD. So things like E, we have Fairy Fire Feral. As a feral druid, you use this pretty much every single mob you kill. So I want E to be quickly accessible. It's spammable. It's a short cooldown. We use it a lot here. And then eventually we will go ahead and actually bind things like T to our trinket and whatnot, but we don't have trinkets. They're not in the game at the moment. And then what I do is I do big cooldowns, and I kind of try to keybind them to what makes sense in my brain. So we have Tranquility on our bar right now, which is F, and basically this is the OF button. Like our shiz is getting rocked at the moment. So F for Tranquility is just a, party heal. Try to get everybody topped off if we're in a tough spot. And then same situation though, except for relating it to your mana, we have Shift F, which is Innervate. So you're like, oh, again, oh shoot, we're out of mana. We'll go ahead and hit Shift F because we have that, oh shoot, we're out of mana. I don't know, just little trick in your brain. Same thing with Shift R, which is our Barkskin. It's our defensive. It's a big time cooldown for druids. And again, I could use more vulgar language, but I'm trying to not curse at all in this video. Basically, your shiz is getting wrecked. R-E-K-T, because that's how gamers spell. So Shift R is Barkskin. And for me, we'll go ahead and move over to the mouse now. We have tons and tons of keybinds on the mouse. I just always play. Our racial passive is Shift Scroll Down on the mouse, so that's War Stomp. And then as a druid, here's where you have to have a lot of flow, especially as a feral druid. Every druid should probably still do it this way, in my opinion, because I think it's just the easiest way to utilize your shapeshift forms. You gotta have access to them because they're the entire part of your kit, especially as a feral druid. So I have scroll up on my mouse wheel, turns me into a bear. Scroll down on my mouse wheel, turns me into a cat. Shift scroll up turns me into a cheetah. And obviously there's no water nearby, but I believe it's just shift mouse button up, yeah, is our aquatic form. So you might be asking, how the heck do you transform from cat to bear in one global cooldown? Well, basically there's just some simple macroing that you can go on here. I'm going to post all of these either in the info box down below the video or in the comments, or I might just upload them all to a website and you guys can copy them. But they're pretty simple for the most part, except there's currently a bug where if you power shift too quickly as a feral druid, you don't get your leader to the pack buff or your predatory strikes buff. So we had to add that to the macro, basically a cancel aura, so you remove your buffs as soon as you are about to shapeshift, and it does it all in one fell swoop, which is really nice. So typically a global cooldown is something, say like I pop rejuvenation on myself, I can't immediately go back in. You see there's a little bit of delay to go back into a cat form or something like that. The way that these power shifting macros go is it puts all of it into one global cooldown, so it's just a super smooth transition. So what's a really big kicker is, say you're fighting a rogue or someone, or you just immediately need to get into bear form, or you're fighting a mob that might stun you, something like that, you're stuck in cat form, you need to get into bear form. If you do something like this, like, yeah, that works, but there's that little bit of brief window where you're stuck in a caster form, and you don't want to do that at all. So if you just simply bind it, you can go straight from cat form to bear form. You don't get caught out in druid form at all, which is really clutch for druids. I just said clutch again. I need to stop saying that word. You guys were flaming me for it in the other video. But yeah, so what I do is every single thing, no matter what, is shape shifting into one form or the other. And the only way I can get out of this shape shifted form is if I hit control spacebar. Control spacebar, I have it on a macro to just simply cancel form. No matter what form I'm in, it's going to put me back to my caster form. So that's if I'm in between kills, I'm farming and whatnot, and I want to toss up a couple heals, maybe rebuff myself. I have to hit control spacebar, and that just removes all my forms. If not, I'm just completely trapped doing stuff like this, because I can't just scroll down again and activate cat form, because I have it bound to cast cat form again. So this is, however, really important for power shifting, which we will go ahead and release that in another video a little bit later on, probably end of the week, hopefully. But this is great for power shifting. It's great for PvP, because say we're fighting a frost mage in cat form and we either break her ice barrier or she frost novas, we can just immediately, boom, scroll down on the mouse wheel, breaks the snare, and then we're back in cat form. Don't lose any space, don't lose any distance. It's really great for keeping on top of people and instantly breaking snares. So stuff like this, we're running away from somebody, a hunter might be chasing us, they concussive shot, boom, just immediately cheetah form again, remove it, all in one swift action, which is pretty nice. So we can go ahead and get into some other macros here. We do have a little bit of control macros going down and some mouseover macros, which is pretty cool. One thing to note, which I didn't note, we need to go over, again, do things that make sense in your brain. So say we're trying to kill this mob here. We're going to pull it with fairy fire. We'll throw up a rake, maybe a couple claws. And then now that we have combo points, our rake is 3. Our rip is shift 3. So again, I just know 3 is my bleed button. I'm going to be able to use rake as 3 because it's spammable. You want to use it, quite often. Shift 3 is just the combo point dump for bleeds again. So little stuff like that, you want to try to combo it where, a warrior might use hamstring straight into mortal strike, something like that. You want it to be fluid in your motions of combat here. So pretty much everything is right next to each other. I could use 1, 2, 3, 4 as an opener. F again is just our stealth button. It's really great utility. And cats don't have an interrupt, so we could just use Q instead of bash in bear form. Q's our sprint. It's our utility button again. So just wanted to go over that really quick. Again, little things in my brain. I'm in bear form. I want to either get away or I want to engage on somebody. F is feral charge. Feral charge begins with F. That's just little ways for my brain to trick myself to memorize the macros and keybinds. And again, feral charge is a super short cooldown, so you utilize it a lot, so you want it to be close by to where your hands naturally rest on the keys. So we'll go ahead and actually finish off this mob. We'll go ahead and do a little power shift, which we will again talk about in a little bit of a later video. Cool. So now we can get into the nitty gritty of the shifting, mouseover macros, whatever, control macros. So C, decurse. Curse starts with the C. Boom, bada bing, bada boom, easy. Shift E is our nature's grasp. In grasp, entangle, ensnare, whatever, it all starts with an E. Just a way for me to know, again, my E button, it's going to be either for pulling or it's going to be my snare, stuff like that. We have control E, where I could control entangle roots somebody. Again, if they're on top of me, boom, we can cast that. And then we'll say this one breaks for whatever reason, and he can go ahead and hit nature's grasp with a shift E. So now this one's snared. It's just little tricks like that that we try to utilize to make it easy for our brain to process, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have, minimum probably 20. Some people have like 50 keybinds because they go absolutely crazy. Just little things that you try to trick your brain into memorizing. So we got the decurse is C. Shift C is Abolish Poison. So again, both of our cleansing abilities, C for cleanse, are on that C. We have either C or Shift C to cleanse whatever. Druids have decurse and poison cleanse, so all the utility cleansing is on C. And now back to that C though, we have mouseover macros, which are really useful for world PvP, but mainly for raiding, stuff like that, where we have simply a cast at mouseover and a bracket, and then the ability that you want to use. I put both of them in one macro, so if someone's poisoned or cursed, I can simply not have them targeted. Say I'm fighting someone right here, and my buddy next to me is, he's got a curse or something on him. I can just take Control C while hovering over him. Don't even have to target him, and it's going to immediately cast one of those spells on him. You can see the icon down here flashing as if someone was over here. Maybe we'll try to go find somebody to actually show you what it would look like. Again, it's not going to actually cleanse them unless they have a curse or a poison on them. Luckily, we're in Angora, which that's pretty prevalent. So we'll run around and try to see if we can find someone to do that. But again, we have you can see on my taskbar, action bar, we have 1, 2, 3, which is healing touch, regrowth, or rejuvenation. And on the right side, we have the same mouseover macro of control 1, healing touch, control 2, regrowth, control 3, rejuvenation, where I can just mouse over somebody and press those, and it's going to be casting that spell on top of them while I don't have them targeted. It's just an easier way to have instant access to your spells and not lose your targets, not get kind of lost in the sauce, So those are the only mouseover macros I have. I could make one for like roots or hibernates. Eventually I'll probably do that. For now I'm just kind of chilling. Right now we also have control F, F being that oh frick button, which is traditionally our potion, our healing potion. We don't have any. Oh, we do have one. Where did it come from? There we go. So really nice to just have a bunch of things bound to what you can utilize them for. Don't do it. You don't want none of this. Here, we'll actually try to see. Boom. Target him. Control E. That would have snared him if he didn't get out of range. That would have hit him. I'm pretty sure that's every single. Oh. Shift spacebar. So mount. Shift spacebar. I spam spacebar just because jumping is fun in this game and I have bad ADD. Shift spacebar to mount because you're going to use that keybind probably a million times in your classic WoW career, because every single class uses mounts, which is really nice. So that's just something. You could put that to a different cooldown. I just like putting that as a mount cooldown. But for now, I think that's every single keybind that I'm using. It's pretty simple, guys. Like right now, I probably only have 25 things keybound, and I plan on adding a lot more, especially once PvP Phase 2 comes out. But for now, we just want to keep it simple and whatnot. We have a bunch of these macros where, it's the mouseover macros and whatnot, the cancelform macros. I have some of these which are just for straight up for farming, like a Devilsaur target attack macro, a Devilsaur skin macro, because we're really out here against the Devilsaur Mafia. We'll show those macros in the Devilsaur Mafia video that we're going to be working on. That's going to be a big boy video, so who knows when that one's going to come out. It's a new month, right? We'll say hopefully by mid-October. That'd be really cool to get that out. But again, at this point, I'm honestly just rambling. Again, just key points. Make it fluid. Do what works for you. Just don't waste movement. Where, say I'm doing maybe a control 3, I don't want to immediately try to go to like an alt T or something like that. You want to have all of your defensives kind of aligned, all of your offensives aligned, your utilities aligned, your cleanses. Just make sense in your brain how you keybind, but you got to have keybinds in this game, guys, because you don't want to be that guy who gets caught clicking, You know, I still click my buffs because I'm a pleb, but the OG gangsters will have literally every single thing keybound on every single action bar because they're absolutely nuts. Again, coming from League background though, I only used maybe like 12 keybinds in League, so I'm not used to having all 1 through 5 QWRTY, you know. So we're making our way there, but it's a great stepping stone, I think, is what I have it set up to. Again though, just do what you want. I'm rambling. I'm gonna peace out of this video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. As usual, if you need any social media links such as Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook, they'll be in the info box down below. I'll put the macros that we have featured in this video down in the info box below. And as always, I will see you all next time. Peace.